Hello and assalamu alaikum to everyone. I am Hanif from Tabani's School of Accountancy, which is the only platinum institute in the southern region of Pakistan. And the purpose of today's session is to make you people more comfortable with the MCQs. And I have selected few MCQs from the past exam papers of ACCA. And I'm well assuming that you had completed your revision and all that stuff. And the purpose of today's session is just to make you people more comfortable with the MCQs because it covers 30% weightage in your real exam. So let's start with this MCQs practice. Question number 1. Which of the following audit procedures for obtaining audit evidence is correctly described? It is correctly described. Number A, recalculation involves auditors' independent execution of procedures or controls which were originally performed as part of the client entity's internal control. Remember that recalculation verifies the accuracy of the figures. And this is not the correct procedure because the purpose is of the verification of the controls, and so it does not fit well. Remember that whenever the auditor is applying the procedure, there is the purpose behind that. And it is the purpose which defines that whether it is test of controls or the substantive. So this is not the correct procedure. Second one, confirmation consists of, if you are recalling the confirmation, that means it is covered under ISA 505, the external confirmation, and you have to obtain the confirmation from the external party. That is either from the customer, supplier, bankers, and whatever the external party is. And here it is written that confirmation consists of seeking information of knowledgeable person within the company or outside. No, not within the company. When you are about to ask something from the client entity, you should use the word inquire. It is the confirmation. So it is the wrong answer. Number C, reperformance consists of checking the mathematical accuracy. No, wrong. Reperformance checks the complete concept. It is the completeness. When you will be reperforming any accounting treatment which has already been adopted and practiced by the client entity, which is recorded, and if you will reperform, that ensures the completeness of the records, not just the accuracy. D is obviously the correct one because it is written that observation consists of looking at the procedures performed by others. That's 100% correct. So the correct option is D. Second one. As part of the audit, auditors are required to undertake the overall review of the financial statements. Overall review. Before proceeding for the overall review, I would like to describe something. That is, it is the review stage. It is the review stage. And remember, there are two kinds of review. You are well aware of the audit cycle, that is appointment, engagement letter, planning, TOC, substantive, and this is the review stage. What is basically the review stage? Your audit is almost complete and you have to review two things. Number one is the specific matter. Number one is the specific matters. And number two is the overall review of financial statements. Remember, I'm talking about overall review. And when it is when there is a overall review, that means it shows the complete financial statements. And on a specific matter, you have to review something specific, not the complete financial statements. Now, what is written here? Which of the following procedures would not include in the as part of the overall review, as part of the overall review of the financial statements? Which one of the following will not be covered in the overall review? Will not be covered. Okay. Number A. When the option includes the overall review, I will be writing yes. When the one option will not be including in the overall review, I will be writing no, and that will be our answer. Review the financial statements to ensure that they are consistent with the auditor knowledge. Review the financial statement. Yes, it is in the overall review. Number two, performing analytical procedure on the financial statements to perform overall conclusion. Yes. Number C, undertake a review of the subsequent event. Subsequent event, that is IS 10. You are reviewing IS 10. That's not the complete financial statements that related to the specific matters. And here it will be the subsequent events. It is not covered under overall review of the financial statements. So here it is my answer for the adjustment. And number D is the review of the financial statements. Now see that when all the three options, they include the overall review of the financial statements, but the requirement is that which of the following is not included in the overall review, that is the specific review. Next, which of the following is not inherent limitation of internal control system? Which of the following is not the inherent limitation? Possibility of human error in undertaking the task. Yes, it's a limitation of the internal control. Number B, possibility that employees may collude together fraud. Yes, it's the limitation. And A is not the limitation. A is insufficient segregation of duties. And insufficient segregation of duties is actually the control fault, not the limitation. You know, the limitation means that is the boundaries. That is the boundaries, or you can say that is the extent. That is the extent to which the controls can be applied. For example, there is a camera, there is a specific range of that coverage of the CCTV. For example, 100 meters, 200 meters, the camera cannot capture for the straightforward 1000 kilometers. It is not, that's the limitation of the control. But insufficient segregation of duties is actually poor controls. It's not the limitation, and the rest two of the options are the limitations. That is the boundary, the restriction of the internal controls. That is to what extent the control can be applied. So A is not the limitation. A is the poor controls because it is the insufficient segregation of duties. Number 4, which of the following statements related to international standards on auditing, that is ISA, if any, is or are correct? Number 1, international standards on auditing are issued by IASB. No, wrong. It is IAASB, International Audit and Assurance Standard Board. This is the board which issues ISA, and IASB issues the International Accounting and the Financial Reporting Standard. So number 1 option is wrong. Number 2, in the event that ISAs differ from the local legislation, auditors must comply with the ISAs. No, not at all. Part D, whenever there is the difference between the local and international standards, remember, local laws are always superior. Local laws are always superior. I'm giving you a very simple and the common example. There are many countries where there is a left-hand drive. So if you are living in that country, you have to follow that rule, left-hand drive. When you are going to some European countries, there are right-hand drivings, for example. And if you are going over there, you have to comply with that local law. So if there is a difference between the international and the local standards, remember, local laws are always superior. So D is our answer. It was A and it was C. All right. Now let's move on to the next MCQ. And the next MCQ is, which two of the following regarding the use of analytical procedures during the planning stage are correct? During the planning stage, if I can demonstrate you through my rough presentation that what analytical procedure includes. What analytical procedures include? This involves the comparison and investigation of the unusual items. And analytical procedures include in 3 stages of audit. In 3 stages of audit. Number 1, it is used in planning stage. Number 2, it is used in substantive testing stage. And number 3, it is used in the review stage. Now, what is the purpose of using analytical procedures in the planning stage? Yes, that is to compare the figures and cast doubt on the financial statements. And the purpose is the risk of material misstatements. You are in the planning stage and there is the purpose, that is the risk of material misstatement in the planning phase. And number 2, in the substantive testing phase, the purpose is to detect the material misstatements. is to detect the material misstatements in the substantive testing, because you are actually testing for the financial statements. And in the review stage, you are reviewing the overall financial statements. That is, if the financial statements represents the logical differences in the figures, that means that the financial statements are true and fair, and so the opinion can be expressed. If not, if the figures are not comparable, that means that the audit should be extended out. So the planning, in the planning stage, there is the purpose, that is the risk of material misstatements. Now I'm going to read these options, that which two of the following statements regarding the use of analytical procedures during the planning stage of the audit are correct. Number one, during the planning stage, remember the planning stage. Number one, analytical procedures are useful when forming an overall conclusion. When forming an overall conclusion, this is representing the review stage. Overall conclusion, this is representing the review stage. So option one is eliminated. When number one is eliminated, that means option A is eliminated. All right. Number two is that analytical procedures can be used to obtain relevant and reliable evidence. It is showing the substantive stage. It is showing the substantive stage, because you have to obtain the evidences. Number three, obviously, when number two is also wrong, then number 3 and 4 is the correct option. Number C. But we have to obtain an understanding of the options. Analytical procedures can assist in identifying the risk of material misstatement. Yes, it is the planning stage. Analytical procedure can assist in identifying unusual transaction and events. Yes, it is again in the planning phase. So in the planning phase, you have to identify something unusual, and then you have to cast doubt on the financial statements. In the substantive, you are using the analytical procedure in order to obtain the evidences. And in the review stage, that's the overall conclusion. Number six is the procedures over the completeness. This is the assertion specific procedure. Which of the following substantive procedures would provide evidence over the completeness of the non-current assets? A. Select the sample of assets included in the non-current asset register and physically verify. Physically verify shows the existence. Physically verification shows the existence. It's wrong. Number 2, review the repairs and maintenance expense account to identify any item of capital nature. It quite may be possible, but we have to read option C as well. For assets disposed of, agree the sale proceed to supporting document and cash book. That is showing the what is actually this is showing to supporting evidence. Agree the sale proceed. It is agreeing the sale proceed to the cash book. It's not the non-current asset completeness, non-current asset. Option B is saying that review the repairs and maintenance expense account and identify the item of capital expenditure. This is basically showing the completeness of the non-current asset. It is showing the completeness of the non-current asset. And it is just verifying the figures. It is just verifying the figures. That is the disposal of sale proceed in the cash book. Just verifying the figures, not the completeness. The completeness is this, whether the repair and maintenance expenditures are completely recorded or not. Number 7 is that which of the following is not the principle of UK corporate governance code? Not the principle of the UK corporate governance code. Number A, there should be the rigorous and the transparent procedure for the appointment of the new directors. Yes, transparency is in every code of corporate governance. Number 2, The board should use the annual AGM. Yes. The non-executive chairman should decide the remuneration for all the directors. No, and that is my answer. C. All the directors should receive induction training. Yes. It is saying that the NEDs decide the remuneration. No, the non-executive chairman does not. Chairman does not decide. It is the remuneration committee in which there are 100% non-executive director, excluding that chairman. Excluding that chairman. Remember, there is the remuneration committee. There is the remuneration committee, which includes 100% NEDs, excluding the chairman. Excluding the chairman. Okay, so chairman, the non-executive chairman should decide the remuneration. No, not at all. This is not the UK corporate governance code. Number 8. Which of the following is a substantive audit procedure for wages and salaries? Number A. Number A is saying that they inspect a sample of clock card for the evidence of authorization. This is TOC. Why this is TOC? Why this is TOC? Because why this is TOC? Because you are testing for the authorization. You are testing for the authorization. That is why it is the test of controls. It's not the substantive testing, right? Next, recalculate a sample of payroll deductions as an employment taxes to confirm the accuracy. And the third one is the attempt to access, make a changes to the payroll master file using a log. This is again TOC. B is the correct option because it is testing for the financial statements. You know, there is there's a requirement for the substantive audit procedure. The auditor is applying. If I can show you through my workings, through my annotation, that there is the audit procedures. There are audit procedures. If you are applying the audit procedures on controls, it would be termed as test of controls. If you are applying the procedures on financial statements, that will be known as the substantive procedure, substantive testing. You can say that substantive testing. All right, so audit procedures, if it is being applied on the controls, it will be called test of controls. If it will be applied on the financial statements, it will be termed as the substantive testing. So B is the correct one because the question was for the substantive test. Number 9. Which of the following statements related to the auditor responsibilities regarding subsequent events? It is ISA 560, if any are correct. Number 1. Auditors do not have the responsibility to perform procedures to identify subsequent events after the date of audit report. Yes, when the audit report is issued, and if there is any subsequent event, auditors are not having any responsibility over the subsequent events. Number 2, when there is a material adjusting subsequent events after the financial statements issued. See that financial statements have been issued to the users, to the shareholders, but prior to the approval by shareholders, the auditor should modify the opinion. No, not at all. No, only A. Only A. Why? Because when FS issued, again, auditors do not have the active duty. Auditors do not have the active duty that they can modify the opinion. So auditors are not responsible. Auditors are not responsible. Okay, so they cannot qualify their opinion. How can they qualify the opinion? The financial statement is already issued to the investors, to the shareholders. How can they qualify the opinion? All right. Next one is the number 10. Is the following statement true or false? A significant change in the ownership of an existing audit client. Ownership, that is client entity management, and the ownership is changed, is a factor makes it appropriate for the auditor to review the terms of the engagement. Yes, true. You know, AEL, audit engagement letter, when there is a significant change you should need to consider the terms of the engagement, that is audit engagement letter. Audit engagement letter is revised when there is a significant change. When there is a significant change. And significant change, that is the, for example, change of the ownership. Yes. Number 11. Which of the following statements related to internal and external auditor? Internal and external auditor is correct. Internal and external auditor is correct. Number A. Internal auditors are required to be the member of professional body. No. If you are a simple graduate, you can join the company as internal audit department, in the internal audit department. So for the internal auditors, you are not supposed to have any professional qualification like ACCA. But in order to become the external auditor, you should have the membership of the professional accountancy qualification, for example, ACCA. So the number 1 option is wrong. Number 2, internal auditors scope of work should be determined by those charged with governance. Yes, this is the correct option. This is the correct option. But we have to read 3 and 4 option as well. External auditors report to those charged with governance. No. External auditors report to the shareholders. Next. Internal auditors can never be independent of the company. No. They are simply saying that it can never be possible. It may be possible. For example, that I am working as an internal auditor in XYZ organization, or it's up to me whether I have to maintain the relationship with the other departmental people, or I should be independent. The point is saying that internal auditors can never be independent. No, not at all. But the B option is 100% correct. The working scope of internal auditors determined by those charged with governance, and the working scope of the external auditors are determined by ISA, International Standards on Auditing. Number 12. Which two of the following sales system, following controls of a sales system ensure that goods dispatched are completely and accurately invoiced? What is the purpose? What is the purpose here? What is the purpose here? That is GDN, I mean goods dispatched, are invoiced. Whether or not the goods dispatched are invoiced. Number 1, goods dispatch notes are matched to the sale invoice. Yes. For example, I had sold 100 units. For example, I will be reviewing GDNs and matching it with the invoice. That means complete and accurate. For example, complete and accurate goods dispatched are invoiced. Yes, 1 is correct. That means option B and option C are eliminated. Number 2 and number 3 both are wrong as part of the good MCQ technique, but we have to read it. Sale invoice are sequentially numbered. Sequentially numbered is for the internal purpose, not for the correctly invoiced. That means you are sending the invoice. That means you are sending the invoice. Number 3, sale invoices matched to the customer order. It's the customer purchase order, not the customer purchase. We have to review the GDNs and the invoice, GDN and invoice. And if some orders are still unfulfilled, that is also for the completeness. For example, that regular review of unfulfilled orders 1 and 4, which is the remaining option. For example, there are 100 units, for example, and I have supplied 90 units. 10 units are still remaining unfulfilled. They are not completely invoiced. First of all, dispatch the goods and check for the completeness. All right. So these are 12 questions which I wanted to share with you people. So here is it. And yes, again, I wish you people good luck for your exams. Take care. Bye bye.